Hello, Lions. Thanks for responding. Otherwise, I'd be standing up here wondering, what? Did everyone eat and leave? You know, yes, I am a calendar girl. That wasn't something on my bucket list. In fact, I don't even know where my bucket is. But I feel so honored that the Minnesota Lions Diabetes Foundation asked me to participate in that project. As you can see, I am blind. I had 20/20 sight until the age of 25, when I lost my sight from secondary complications of type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease that usually affects children. I was diagnosed with type 1 back in 1962 when I was 11 years old. Okay, I know some of you are sitting out there doing the math right now, and I'll just do it for you. This year, I will celebrate my 66th birthday. And no, I do not mind telling my age, because I worked darn hard to get this far. As I said, I was 11 when I was diagnosed with type 1. At that time, it was called juvenile diabetes, and it usually targeted children in the age ranges of 10, 11, and 12. Today, for some unknown reason, it's targeting children at much younger ages, 3, 4, and 5 years of age. I know a young boy who was diagnosed with type 1 at the age of only 13 months old. I know a young girl who was diagnosed at the age of only 4 years old. Her mother told me that upon initial diagnosis of type 1, she had to give her daughter between 7 and 9 shots every day. Type 1 diabetes, unlike type 2, cannot be treated with just diet, weight reduction, or taking oral medications. The only treatment for type 1 is always taking multiple insulin shots throughout the day or wearing an insulin pump. We must also check the glucose or sugar levels in our blood many times throughout the day. I would like you to play a game with me for the next couple weeks. I would like you to pretend that you are 11 years old and you have just been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Now, it's going to be your responsibility to check your glucose levels and give yourself a shot before any snack or meal. You must do this in tandem, for you do not give yourself the same amount of insulin each time. You have to take into consideration what your glucose level is, how many carbohydrates are you going to consume, and then calculate how much insulin you will need. Since both the test and the shot require using needles, I want you to pinch yourself twice in the arm, once to simulate a test, once to simulate a shot. So beginning tomorrow morning, rise and shine, Lions. Pinch, pinch, test and shot. Now, you may sit down and eat breakfast. Noon, pinch, pinch, test, shot. Now, you may eat lunch. After lunch, your friend calls you up and says, hey, my mom is taking us to the pool to go swimming. Would you like to come along? Sure you would. But before you get into that pool, test your glucose level, because physical activity will lower glucose levels, and you do not want to develop hypoglycemia while you're swimming. So pinch. After swimming, your friend's mom says, would you kids like to go to the Dairy Queen for a treat? Of course you would. And you know what? You can have a treat, but guess what? Pinch, pinch, test, shot. It's later in the day, your mom's about ready to put dinner on the table. Pinch, pinch, test shot. After dinner, you and your family decide to go watch a ball game at the park. While watching the game, they decide to have a snack. Would you like one too? Pinch, pinch, test shot. Now, you're back home, and you're getting ready to go to bed, and again, not because you're going to eat, but this time, you'll be taking a long-acting insulin, whereas throughout the day, you've been taking a fast-acting insulin. And you should always check your glucose levels before going to bed. So pinch, pinch, test shot. Next day, rise and shine, lions. It's a new day, but same routine. Pinch, pinch, test, shot. Now, for you, this is just a game that you can quit at any time. But for us, it's a job that we must do every day for the rest of our lives. It's a job in which there are no weekends off or even a single day of vacation. But we do get one great fringe benefit. We get to live. Lions, did you know, however, that diabetes is a leading cause of kidney failure and heart failure? It's a leading cause of blindness for people under the age of 60. It's also one of the leading causes of amputations, strokes, and nerve damage. I know two people who have had diabetes as long as me and have no secondary complications. But I do, unfortunately, know 12 people from my hometown area who died at an early age from secondary complications of type 1. I know 2 people who actually died from hypoglycemia. So, what is hypoglycemia? It's a condition in which our glucose level drops too low. If we do not secure an immediate source of sugar to get into our system, we can go into a coma and, if not found in time, die. I like to use the analogy of living with diabetes is like walking on a balance beam. You don't want your glucose levels too high, for that can bring on the secondary complications. And you don't want them too low, for that can bring on hypoglycemia, which can lead to death. You want to keep your glucose levels right down the middle. But that isn't always so easy to do, for there are many variables that can cause your glucose levels to swing in the wrong direction. For example, too much or not enough insulin given, too much or not enough food consumed, too much or not enough exercise, and even things like colds, flus, infections, and stress can alter your glucose levels. As you can see, living with diabetes can be challenging. So I dream for a cure. Friends say, but why? You should be used to needles and shots. Yes, I am. But lions, that's like saying I should be used to being blind. Yes, I navigate around in a dark world, and lady lions, I do everything in my home that you do in yours. I do the cooking, cleaning, laundry, ironing, and I love decorating our home. When people say they feel sorry for me because I am blind, I always smile and say, yes, at times, it can be challenging, but I feel so lucky because blindness is not terminal. But lions, truth be told, of course, I miss my sight, for I do remember the visual world up there. I do remember the kaleidoscope of beautiful, vibrant colors. And oh, lions, what I wouldn't give to see the faces of the people I love, especially the face of our daughter, whose beautiful face I have never seen. And now there's a new face in my life, the face of our little 1-year-old granddaughter, whose cute, happy little face I cannot see. I have similar feelings about living with diabetes. Yes, I am used to needles and shots, but Lions, truth be told, I do not like needles and shots. If I never again had to poke myself with a needle between 10 and 12 times every day, if I never again had to worry about how many carbohydrates are there in this piece of food I'm about to chew, if I never again had to worry about secondary complications, and especially hypoglycemia that could end my life today, if I could be free from all that, I would be so happy. But even more so, if I could prevent a child from having to live with this disease, if I could prevent a child from following my footsteps in their journey through life, I would be absolutely overjoyed. So I dream for a cure. A friend said, "Do you think you'll ever see a cure in your lifetime?" No. I won't quote, see a cure, but Lions, we are so close to a cure right now. I can almost touch it. And that's where you, my dear Lions, that's where you come into my story. Because of you and your help to the Minnesota Lions Diabetes Foundation, we are getting closer and closer to that cure. A couple years ago, my husband Bob and I went out one night to our second kitchen, Perkins, and we ran into the family of the little girl who has type 1. We stopped for a chat, and as we were leaving their table, I overheard the father say, "Bonnie's had diabetes since she was a young girl. She, along with the Lions, are on a mission to find a cure." As the family was leaving the restaurant that night, they came over to our table, and I heard the father say, "Bonnie, my daughter would like to say something to you." I heard the sweetest little voice say, "Thank you for helping me." And I felt this tiny little hand in mine. And I heard the father say she would like to make a donation to the foundation. It isn't much, but it's all that she has. Lions, I do believe that night I saw the face of a little lion. I put her 17 cents into the piggy bank that we pass around at our monthly meeting. So, next time you make a donation to the Minnesota Lions Diabetes Foundation, I want you to think of the impact you will be making on the lives of all those little kids who live with this disease. Not only them, for every diabetic who lives with this disease. And oh yes, remember what I said in the beginning about diabetes and blindness? Just last year, I heard 2 sad stories about 2 young people. First one was a young college girl who had to put her studies on hold. She had lost her sight from type 1 diabetes. Second one was a young 17-year-old boy about ready to enter his senior year in high school. But instead, he entered into a school for the blind because he too had lost his sight from type 1 diabetes. Lions, you are the knights of the blind. Imagine the impact you could make on the blind community with the eradication of this disease. I would like to thank you for sitting here so patiently and listening to me play my violin. I don't normally like to talk about the ugly side of diabetes, for I choose to live my life with a positive attitude. But I feel compelled to speak out. Speak out for my 12 friends who are no longer here. Speak out for every diabetic, but especially speak out for all those little kids who are just learning how to balance on that balance beam. Lions, with your help, we can get those kids, we can get the entire diabetic community off that balance beam and onto safe, solid ground. Today you can personally help us out. Stop by the booth that the Minnesota Lions Diabetes Foundation has and buy a Dreamcatcher pin for only $5. It's a beautiful pin. Or buy a 2017 calendar for only $10. I would like to thank the district for inviting me here today. It's an honor to stand here before you and talk. Thank you for your wonderful hospitality. The lodging was great. The food is superb. But Lions, there are no words to describe your friendship. And thank you, Lions, for the work that you do in your community, in your state, your country, and around the world. I would finally like to end with a poem that was written just for you. It's titled, Lions to Our Rescue. For more than half a century, I've lived in the diabetic trenches, fighting in a war that so far has never ended. Many of my fellow comrades beside me are severely wounded and are suffering with secondary complications that cannot be mended. Some are blind, some have had strokes, amputations, nerve damage, kidney failure, and heart damage. Some comrades sadly have fallen and met with an early death. I cry as I move over to make room for yet another child joining us in these trenches. Will someone please come and help us? Will someone please find a cure? I hold my breath. Armed with insulin pens, pumps, pills, and glucometers, we sometimes grow weary. But wait, what's that beyond, over the horizon? Has the cavalry finally arrived? As the image unfolds, we see it's an advancing pride of fearless lions. We shout with joy, knowing you have come to save our lives. Roar! Thank you, Lions, for coming to our rescue.